This podcast is powered by As Always Entertainment. If you enjoy this content, consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/asalways. Other than to support this show for just $1 a month or more, you get access to over 50 exclusive episodes of the Kill Connor Clubhouse podcast that release every week the Kill Connor Club podcast isn't on. You also get a week's early access to the Spoilercast show, The Cinema Room, and plenty of cool perks such as being part of polls for future videos on our channels, as well as other early access material. With that said, please enjoy the podcast. Nah, intro right now. This second.
Alright. Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Cinema Room podcast, the Spoiler podcast, where we talk about movies, video games, and television show seasons and spoil the fuck out of them. I'm one of your hosts, Tyler, joined as always, and unprofessionally, by James. How's it going?
Hey, as always, how's it going, everyone?
Yeah, you know, well, I'm everyone, so I'm going good. Today we're doing an episode on Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, the Todd Phillips film that just came out a couple of days ago at the time we're recording this. Obviously, this podcast is brought to you by the great people at patreon.com/as always, so it's a week early for them. If you're not a sweet vintage lad that's over on Patreon, for just $1 a month, you can get a week's early access to this podcast. So we've got to thank our Patreon producers for making the show happen. It literally wouldn't exist without him. That's King Richard III, Smexy Dork, Elstico91, H+12, I've Got Big Shoes, Seth, and Josh Devilier. Cheers, guys, for the support. But yeah, Joker today. So if you haven't seen it, go see it, because we're going to spoil the shit out of it. That's what we do on this podcast. We're film connoisseurs. We're going to break the movie down, our thoughts, theories, opinions of Joker. James, you've seen it. I've seen it. It's all great. And I know you're excited to talk about this. I've been getting constant messages the last few days about this. So here we are. It's very exciting. Yeah, but before we get started, obviously, we've got to read through the Patreon list. I know it's not just the producers. They're just the ones that make the show happen. There's other people that make the show happen, including the producers, but among other people. So once again, the great people at patreon.com/as always. You get this podcast a week early, plus every week this podcast isn't on Patreon. There's an exclusive podcast called the Clubhouse Podcast. You get to listen to it. It's amazing. It's the best podcast on the internet. And for just $1 a month, you get access. Plus, for $5 a month, you're going to get your name read on this list that I'm about to read. So thanks to these sweet vintage lads: King Richard III, Smexy Dork, Elstico91, H+12, I've Got Big Shoes, Seth, Paulsack47, Josh Devilier, Damian, Billy, the Team Tynamite, Captain Robertson, Tman, Travis, SuperTuberEddie, Baby Boy, KEMOSABE Gamer, Casey Wood, Pink Flame 313, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie Brown, Jesper Olsen, Lumistrad, DIDDLOTIC, Mario 5380, Wants to Blow, The Creed, Fuck Cuck, Brendon or BQ Overlord, RAVJAI, Ikraik, Oscar, Benedict Parker Returns, Jimli, James and Lad, Connor Durose Bully in the Alley, Zahir the FAT Gamer, Max H. Gene, Zeek Collins, oh god, Zeek, what did you change your fucking... Zeek, the #1 fan of JB Smoove, the actor, Son of a Bitch Ogeaidogo, George Noah Watts, FuriousCoco, Nick Miller, TheACMJS, Travanoski, McZed Kassassin, Kyle S. Jaws, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mori, Ginko Swag, Master Bass, Remy the Rat is a cunt, Ashton, Amir the Synth Potato, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Joe aka Founder Scarab, Iron Man for the Dads, Derriday, Alfie Rodbert, Brian Ford, Casper, Fishy, and Andrew Martinez. Thanks to Sweet Vintage Lads for helping power this podcast. Making me almost have an asthma attack. Ooh, there we go. Alright, James. Joker. You've seen it. You were not excited about it, and I've been the one saying how excited I am for this movie. You've seen it now. What? Give me your general thoughts. Give me a rundown. What did you think of Joker?
Okay, hang on a sec. I'm unscrewing something from a tripod. Just give me 2 seconds.
Great time to do it. I'm glad that you're doing that now.
Hang on.
As obviously we're about to do what we do every episode. We do this when I finish the list and then I ask you what you thought of the movie. That's obviously what we're about to do.
Yeah, don't worry.
And you thought, you know what? This is the time to do that thing.
I think I broke it. Don't worry about it.
For the love of God.
I broke it. Let's just leave that right there. Worry about that in a minute. Okay, Joker.
This is the most unprofessional podcast we've ever done, by the way. And we've done incredibly unprofessional podcasts before. But I was eating dinner to intro, and now you're fucking unscrewing whatever the fuck. The strap-on Elva.
Yeah, look, listen, it's not my fault. Like, Elva texts me and she's like, I need the tripod. And I'm like... Look, the tripod doesn't have the screw on it.
What does she need the tripod for? What does she need the tripod for?
Well, she's going to our house and she's filming some stuff because I can't be there because I'm recording this podcast. But I can't give it to her because she needs the screw for her tripod, which is on my tripod. So I tried to unscrew it, but I've just broken it.
You broke a screw. Or you broke the tripod.
I think I broke the screw. I don't know.
Who breaks a screw?
I don't know. Well, it's like a screw that's on like a black piece of plastic.
Oh yeah, I know the thing you're talking. Yeah, okay.
It's Hang on, let me just tell her I broke it. Okay, let me. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore it. Okay, right. What was your question?
Oh, the best.
I apologize.
What do you mean? What was the question?
You were just asking me what my thoughts were on Joker.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Obviously, that's what it was.
I just wanted you to re-ask it in case anybody else forgot. I knew.
James,
I was just like, but I didn't want to just go. I didn't just want to go.
James,
oh, I broke the screw. Oh, your Joker was pretty
sick. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
What did you think of Joker, James? You fucking.
Yeah. What do I think of Joker?
Yeah. What did you think of Joker, James?
I loved it. I loved the Joker. It was great. What a great movie.
Is there any way you could give a bit more detail and be interesting, or is that all you got for me today?
Yeah, sure. All right. Okay. So like you said, I went into this not being super excited. I mean, I didn't go into it not being super excited. I was super excited, but for a long time, I really wasn't. It wasn't. My hype ramped up pretty close to the movie coming out, which I don't remember what it was or why. I don't know whether it was because we talked about it on a podcast or I don't remember why, but I was really looking forward to it, and so I guess I had high expectations going in. Because I really wanted it to be good to make, me suddenly being hyped for this movie worth it. And I think there were just so many moments that we'll break down later on that just, I was just like, yeah, okay, this is it. They've got it right. Like, not only have they got the Joker right, they've also got the movie itself is also a really fucking good movie. The tone, the way it's filmed, soundtrack as well is another thing, and all of those things. It was just fucking fantastic to watch. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I loved the movie. Though I left feeling really weird. Like, the whole movie,
I think I did too, yeah.
I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I'm in awe of the shots. The cinematography is amazing. The way it was filmed, beautiful. Todd Phillips' directing was phenomenal. Yeah, the script was great. The tone was great. Acting and performances were great. There's nothing not to like. In fact, I spent so many moments in the movie turning to my left to look at my brother Harlan and Jared. Mm-hmm. Like, holy fuck, is this about to happen? When we knew stuff was coming, or when something happened, just that holy fuck moment. Probably about 6 times I looked at him like, what the fuck? Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got all those amazing things going for it, and I left feeling like I didn't like the movie.
Right.
And the reason I felt like that was because I didn't feel good.
I think I know what you mean. I think I left in a similar way.
I didn't feel good after leaving the movie. I felt sick.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I felt uncomfortable. I felt uneasy. I just felt, ugh.
Yeah, I kind of loved it, though.
And I think that's the point. I
remember, I think I was really loving it. It wasn't until towards the end where I started feeling like, I don't know what it was. It was like this intense, anxiety or something, where I was like, this is not nice. I don't like this. But at the same time, I was like, but I think that means it's really good. I don't know. Because I wasn't registering that, I don't like it because it's bad. It was like, I'm having, a negative emotional response because it's so good sort of thing. They've got it so right. And I think that was... But upon reflection, I can look at it as, a film and be like, yeah, that was really fucking good. The way that it was all made and written and put together to elicit that emotional response, I think it was masterfully done.
It's hard to know where to start when breaking down this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily want to start at the beginning, but this movie is there a single scene where Joaquin Phoenix isn't in it in this movie? I'm pretty sure he's in every single scene.
I think so. Yeah.
There's no focus on any other character. You're totally with Arthur throughout this whole movie.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, you're completely with him the whole time. This movie had twists and turns and ups and downs, and it really kept you guessing about what was going to happen next, and you just were never sure, and there was this weird sympathy that you have to this character, but at the same time, there's also this discomfort and scared feeling you get from this character. Like, I didn't like him at all, but I had this weird sympathy at the same time.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of what's that fucking Netflix show? You, with the stalker guy, where like in a weird way, like, don't get me wrong, the movie's not like on the same level. Like, I think it's way better, but the point
but
being,
also the show
like,
You, to me, like, that main character was inherently a likable person.
Yeah,
it was just crazy. Whereas there's nothing likable about Arthur at all.
Yeah,
he's
no,
a
there's
weird
really
person.
Not. I think that's why you feel sympathy for him though, because you're like, it's almost like pity, really. Where you're sort of like, pity. Oh, this guy's he's a fucking loser, and I wouldn't want to be his friend.
And everyone treats him like shit.
Yeah, but I feel bad for him because of that, I guess.
Like it's not his fault.
Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think there might be, a few reasons for it, but we can get into some of that when we get towards, like, talking about the ending and stuff.
Well, let's talk about the first sort of half of the movie, or 2/3 of the movie then.
Okay.
What were some highlights for you? What are your standout points when it comes to learning about Arthur and who he is and why he is the way he is, I guess?
Let's see. I mean, I think his relationship with his mother was an interesting point. That was one that was, quite an important plot point for the film, and they flipped that around a couple of times, which was interesting. And also you've got him at his job being, he gets attacked by those kids at the start, and I think that's the first moment you sort of, I don't know. I guess the way that it starts with that being a thing sort of creates that sympathy. So for the rest of the movie, you're like, oh, this guy's sort of like, I don't know, sort of like the underdog being like picked on by people and stuff. So it's like so the moment where he finally retaliates and sort of fights back when he's on the train, what feels like pretty justified, and you kind of you almost feel like you're on his side. You're like, yeah, like.
It feels justified for a minute until he chases the guy down.
And then you're like, oh,
and then you start to go
shit.
Like, well, he took that way too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great the way they do it. Like, they never make you feel like, it's weird. Like, you always have that sympathy that's there because you're always with Arthur, but at the same time, they never make you feel like you can justify what he's doing. There's always like, behind it is always like, yeah, well, what he's doing is wrong, but you can still feel that sympathy for him, I think, probably throughout the entirety of it, just because you've been with him for the whole thing and you're seeing everything from his perspective.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this thing, like, at the start, the first shot or scene of the movie is Arthur putting on clown makeup and trying to make himself smile and just crying. Yeah. And that is one of the most powerful scenes of the whole film. Like, this guy you straight away, you're like, this, like, I just felt so much pity. There's this person that's, like, just so broken inside. Yeah. And you want to know why. And that's what launches you into the movie, and just how slow he's walking around. He's a therapist. He has this just way he walks, this hunch. He's slow. He's walking up that the high staircase, and it's just he's down all the time, and he's on all these meds, and he gets home, and the only time he's kind of normal is when he's around his mum, and his mum's a fucking Fruit Loop, talking about Thomas Wayne, Bruce Wayne's father, and you find out she used to work for him 30 years ago, and all this sort of shit. Like, it's just, it sets up a lot, like, again, later on in the movie, but you knew it was going to come back, right? Like, how much she loved Thomas Wayne, and just thought he's going to be a great mayor. Everyone says so on the TV, and I just saw it as like Arthur's going to resent this guy. Like, yeah. And all that. And it was a weird, like, it definitely took nuances and themes from today's political landscape and this divide, the rich and the poor, and what goes on in the mainstream media now, and tried to put that as like a throwback in the 80s to this, and it was an interesting take to have this sort of heroic symbol that isn't understood just because 3 rich guys were killed on a train. 3 rich white guys were killed on a train, and the poor are like, yeah, fuck yeah, you know, but he seems like a hero and all this sort of shit. And really what it is like, Arthur's not a quiet guy. That's the truth about it all. Arthur isn't an introvert. He's not... Arthur's a narcissist, and the second he starts to get attention, he loves it. He lives off attention. He grows off attention. And I think ultimately what it comes down to in the development of this character is... Sure, we can talk about all these events that led to, you know, Arthur becoming the Joker, but ultimately the mental illnesses that he suffers from and his strong narcissism and being pushed down his whole time, it's the only time he's ever got attention is from doing the worst kinds of things. So I think I asked you a question, James, a couple of weeks ago, is will the development of the character of Arthur becoming the Joker, is that a failure of his character, or is that an evolution of his character? After seeing the film, I think it's an evolution of his character, because there was only 2 ways his character could go, and it's either he died or he became the Joker.
Yeah.
Because he either died the way he always lived, you know, unseen. But the only thing that could ever get him what he really wanted was to do the worst, most horrific types of things that the Joker does. That's hurt people, scare people, kill people.
Yeah.
And bring out the worst in everyone else. You know, make villains of everyone, of common people. That's what got him attention. That's what made him feel important. That's what made him feel big. And that is who the Joker is. You know, a narcissist that believes that everyone is corruptible.
Yeah.
That's why when he sees Batman for the first time, in every universe, it's like this love and infatuation with the idea that this incorruptible force that the Joker believes he can corrupt. And that's the fight, the push and pull of the character. So I think seeing Arthur the way he is, I think there's a misunderstanding watching the movie early on of you think he's a sympathetic person, when the reality is he was like this evil narcissist in waiting the whole time.
Yeah.
Just waiting to be broken. Waiting for the first opportunity to kind of feel powerful. And it just so happened to be when a guy he worked with handed him a gun. I don't know. Am I off on this? This is just, that's...
No, I think that makes sense, yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm not sure. How do you feel? How do you feel about that? Like, was it... Do you think his character failed? Like, become the Joker? Was it an evolution? Like, how do you feel?
No, I think I'm in agreement with what you said. I think it was the only... like, it made sense because that was who he is the entire time. The movie, like you said, the movie sort of... It makes you feel sympathy for him, but that's only because I think probably of where it starts us off and the way we see his development across the film. But like you said, when he finally gets that attention and the world starts to see him, like, he just embraces it and he decides to, you know, take on that persona of the Joker, which is pretty much who he's always been, which I think makes a ton of sense. And that sympathy's always there, but I think it's just because of where they... I mean, it's obviously it's purposefully done, but it's because of where they started the film and the way we followed Arthur. If we'd have started at another point, it wouldn't have been the same. And if you see it from a different perspective, it wouldn't have been the same. But I think I'm in agreement with his character and that evolution.
My big thing was in this movie, it really goes to the comic books a lot of the whole one bad day.
Yeah.
What do you think about that and that one bad day that was kind of the sequence of events that changed everything?
Yeah, well,
and how that was done.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was wondering what they were going to do with that, because I was like, we're going to follow him for a bit, and then there's going to be either a moment or there's going to be a day or a sequence of events that's going to break him properly. And when it happened, and you see, I forget the order of how things happened leading up to it, but it was, he finds out about his mother, right? So it's after he goes to Wayne Manor to speak to Thomas Wayne, and he like gets sort of turned away there, and then he goes to the show that Thomas Wayne's at and confronts him there, and Thomas Wayne tells him all these things that he doesn't want to believe, and obviously that's one of the points where he's like, what the fuck is going on? And then he goes to research that at Arkham Asylum, but it's not called Arkham Asylum, it's, what is it called, Arkham State Hospital, and that's when he finds out that everything about like his past, about his mother lying and being, you know, insane and committed to Arkham, and then does he kill his mother after that, or
no, even still, yeah, after no, even still a big plot twist was finding out that Arthur is the son of Thomas Wayne.
Yes.
And that's where the storyline went. You're like, holy shit, that's yeah, oh my god,
yeah.
like.
And I mean, they do that. They throw you through that with Arthur. So that's another way of then, you know, creating a bit of sympathy there, because you're thrown through that with him. So he finds that out at the same time as the audience, and both the audience and Arthur are like, what the fuck? And then both trying to sort of pursue that together. Like the audience wants to know, okay, what the fuck is going on with this? And Arthur. And the thing is as well, the thing that I fucking love about it is, if it were from any other perspective, like say this was a Batman film and it was from Bruce's perspective, like, so Thomas or like people that are denying that Thomas Wayne is Arthur's father, if it was from another perspective, you'd be like, well, yeah, of course. But because you've been spending all this time with Arthur, I wasn't sure, like, are they lying? Are they trying to cover it up? And is Arthur right or not? And I sort of had to check myself and be like, okay, it's probably like a lie though, isn't it? Like, we're following the Joker here. So,
yeah,
you know, there's no way that's going to be true. But, like, because you're following Arthur and you have that investment in him, you almost feel like the world is out to get him and, like, everyone's lying to him sort of thing, rather than, like, you know, him being caught up in this weird lie from his mother. So I thought that was interesting, just the way I sort of felt about that.
Yeah, and I think from early on in the movie, a massive part of this movie, I'd say the character that was second most amount of screen time was Robert De Niro's character. And that character, like, the TV late night host, I forget what his name, Frank Murray? Or Murray
Franklin?
Murray Franklin.
Was that it?
Murray Franklin. Yeah, I think so. Let's just go with that. Murray Franklin.
Yeah, Robert De Niro, the actor.
So Robert De Niro, the actor, was hosting a show, this late night show, but they're watching it for the first time, and all of a sudden it takes you to the audience, and Arthur's in the audience, and he stands up, and he gets called out, and he sits, and you realise you have this moment, you're like, oh, we skip forward to where Arthur's, you know, now an audience member, and then we kind of go out of it, and it's Arthur's in the bedroom, and you're like, okay, so that wasn't real.
Yeah.
But the way they do is like they made you think it was real for a minute, and then you're like, okay, that wasn't real. But wait, was it pre-taped? No, it's live. So you kind of like checking yourself the whole time of like, what's real and
that's
what
the
is
thing,
not real.
right? That's what I absolutely love, because they establish it from the start, and they do it a couple of times. So they do it in that moment where, like, they establish that, look, we can show you something and make you think it's real, and then it won't be real. So you keep that in mind subconsciously. But
you subconsciously do, but at the same time you kind of just you don't. Like, you consciously don't.
Yeah.
Because you have this you know, character that lives down the hall from him, this girl he's infatuated with, and he followed her home. Then she shows up at his door and says, "Did you follow me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did." And she's, because he was honest, I guess, she's kind of like less creeped out. I guess she's from the poor side of things too, so she's not, I don't know, not as intelligent with her decision making. Like, they made it kind of believe. I kind of believed it a little bit, just purely for the fact of like
too.
the way where she's come from and probably how she was raised, probably similar to him to live there.
Yeah.
She's all alone, like, you know, maybe she's, you know, desperate for a connection as well. So, even though she's a beautiful woman, and it makes no sense with this creepy lunatic.
Yeah.
And then there were these moments where they're, you know, he's doing stand-up comedy, and then all of a sudden she's in the audience. I'm like, oh, wow, she did go see him. And then they're off walking on a date, and he kissed, and then after he killed those people, which, I mean, that whole scene is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
When he's in clown makeup, shoots these people on the train, these three guys on the train that were attacking him with this gun he was given, and he's a mental health patient and not allowed to have a gun.
Yeah.
He then runs away into a public bathroom and starts dancing.
Yeah.
Like, it is one of the most, like...
It's so strange, but, like, it's so...
unholy things I've ever seen. Unholy is the word I'd use to describe him.
It's just everything's it's almost like it's just so real as well. Like the way that they do everything happens so fast on the train. Like you got these people like, and also those guys that were doing like how they were written just felt like it felt very real to me. Like the way they were talking to that other girl that was on the train, and then they started talking to Arthur.
I've literally seen.
Like,
I've seen it.
Felt
I've seen it on the train.
So real. Like it didn't feel like your typical movie. Like there's these guys picking on someone. Like it's so fake. Like it felt very real, the way that it could happen in real life, and that was great. It really convinced me, and just the way that it built up with like Arthur uncontrollably laughing, and you're like, oh shit, something's gonna happen, because this is just like, it's just sort of coming to a head, and then it just happened so fucking fast.
Well, the thing I didn't expect was I knew he was gonna get beat up because I saw it in the trailer, so I was like, yeah, here we go, he gets beat up again.
Yeah.
When he shot the guy in the head, I was like, holy shit!
Yeah,
like,
it fucking came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, okay, Jesus fucking Christ. And like I thought what would happen is like, at that point, I was like, okay, so he's retaliated, and then he'll freak out, and then maybe that'll build to something later. But then it was like, in that moment, he's just fucking, like, chasing that guy down. Like, he's had plenty of time to calm down, or, like, to be like, okay, Jesus Christ, that was in retaliation. Like, I think, you know, fair enough, maybe. But, like, he literally is just chasing that guy down, and he shoots him in the back, like, twice. And then when he's on the floor,
twice, like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, when he's on the floor, like dying, unable to move, he just starts gunning him in the back again until he's got no more ammo left, and it's like, fuck. And
then he starts like slow dancing with himself, like a ballerina in a public bathroom with the blood all over him, like a fucking ritual, like this
it was
unholy prayer.
Mm-hmm.
It was so... Yeah, unholy is the word I have to use to describe that. It was so creepy.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good word. It was very creepy.
And then after that, like, he runs back to the apartment and he knocks on this woman's door and just starts kissing her, and she just kind of rolls with it, and you're like...
Yeah, that was the first moment where I was like... See, I was more on board with it for most of the movie, but Elva said to me from the very first moment where she agreed to, like, maybe go see one of his shows... She was like, I don't think she's real. And I was like, I don't know.
Wait,
man.
Really? I didn't really even think about it. I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
As soon as though, like, because he has this moment, so he kills his mother, and we'll go back to that, but he kills his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's it's just dark, eerie music, and you're just like, how unhinged is he? Is he just killing everyone close to him? Because he goes to the door, and you know it's not her, it's not his house, it's her apartment.
Yeah.
He walks in because you see her daughter's drawings on the wall, and he's just so slow, this eerie music, and I'm like, what the fuck's he going to do to her? Like, and then he sits down, on the couch, and she just comes out shocked, and then she stands there for a bit, and I'm like, why is she still so creeped out? I thought she'd be, like, freak out for a second and go, oh, it's Arthur. And then she goes, you're Arthur, right? You live down the hall. And I'm like, oh, fuck!
Yeah.
Jesus! Like, straight away. I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. And that solidified for me. I'm like, okay. So what else wasn't real? Like, what else isn't true? What else is all in his head? Like, what else has he made up? And that was like, that's it. They fucking nailed it. Like, this is the Joker, because we don't know what's real and what's not real in this film.
Because he doesn't know what... He doesn't even
exactly, and that's fucking brilliant. And then that scene, it gets to sort of like a moment where everyone's she's talking to him, and that's when he says like, "I've had a bad day," and it's like, oh shit, he said like the line, like, you know, one bad day. And it was just like, that's fucking brilliant. Like with that reveal of you know, oh, anything can be fake, and then him saying, "I've had a bad day," was like, oh shit, this is the Joker. And that was sort of like his turning point. And it was such a fucking creepy and well done like scene and sequence of events. It was brilliant.
So let's talk about his mother now. So we brushed over that he killed his mother, but there's more to that. We talked about that Arkham scene, but what we found out, you know, you think for a second that he's Thomas Wayne's son. Yeah,
which is pretty fucking mad.
Yeah, which I was like, oh shit, this is a weird way we're going with this, a weird take. And then you're like, okay, it's probably not true. His mother's probably lied to him, or his mother's fucking crazy. Then we get to this Arkham thing, and as soon as he goes, like that clerk, like stops reading, and you're like, oh fuck, what happened to this guy? Like as a kid, like what happened to him? And he steals it and has a read, and you find out that like he was bound and raped and molested by his mother's boyfriends, and he's not even her son, he's adopted. And she has this delusional psychosis, the same thing he has, which is weird because it's not genetic, obviously, because it's not related. So it's all like it's a post-traumatic stress symptom.
Yeah, I have a bit of a theory about that, actually.
It's like, I just assumed it's coming from being molested as a child and going through so much trauma as a child that he's got now all these mental illnesses. One, the laughing thing, as well as this delusional psychosis, as well as this narcissism that happens in people that then would become an offender themselves as an adult and repeat what happened to them as kids.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense logically, right? But given this is a Joker movie, right? And we don't know what's true and what's not true. Assuming this was, imagine it from the perspective of the Joker telling this story to Batman, for example. The same as something like a Killing Joke. The same things that he has, his mother also has. So, I mean, what's to say that his mother was even real? And maybe he's just saying that someone else has it, because he likes to say that everyone else is crazy. So, you know, his mother has these things, but really it's just him that has these things. And that's why he thinks the things that he does. But he wants to blame his mother.
Well, even her mother wasn't even there, like, literally just a figment of his imagination.
Yeah, basically.
And he's watching this TV of Thomas Wayne, and he's feeding his own ego, saying that's his father and shit.
Yeah, like, potentially. I mean, it depends as well, because, I mean, we'll talk about this more at the end, but who knows how much of it was real or if any of it was even real. Like, it's the same as like the Killing Joke when you're watching that. Like, you see all these events of leading up to him becoming the Joker, and then when you get to the end, it's like, well, it wasn't even real. Like, he pretty much admits it to Batman. Like, you know, it's not even real in the first place. So, what was the point of any of it? Which is sort of the way that I see it. I think that, to me, I think major events were probably real. Like, major things happened. But then, like, his name, his mother, his apartment, like, how much of that was or wasn't real, I mean, we don't know, and I like that it's ambiguous.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Well, there's a lot of strange symbolism with his character, with what goes on throughout the film, and that transition to becoming from Arthur to the Joker. One of the interesting scenes was Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Do you want to... What did you think of that? Like, him showing up at Wayne Manor and there's Bruce there.
I wasn't sure if we were going to see Bruce in this film. I remember it was like, there was a kid in a trailer, but people weren't sure who it was. But the moment where, you know, you knew he was going to go to Wayne Manor and then he sees the kid, I'm like, oh shit, this is fucking Bruce Wayne. Like, it was a weird moment because you're seeing it from the Joker's perspective, and it's a young Bruce Wayne. I like had shivers because I'm like, what the fuck is going to happen here? Like, this is fucking like a young Batman, and we're seeing him interact with like this not Joker for the first time. It was so strange. And just the way he's like interact, because we know what Arthur's like throughout like the whole of this movie. Like, we've seen like bits and pieces, and so seeing him interact with Bruce, and when he like forces the smile on Bruce, that was so fucking creepy and weird. Like, That whole interaction made me feel so uncomfortable for the whole thing. I was just like, oh god, I need this to be over. This is horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. And I assume that was Alfred?
Oh, I thought so too, because he was British. So I was like, I mean, it's kind of obvious, I guess, but they never said, so I don't know. Because he didn't look like an Alfred, but like he was fat and young, so I don't know. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, it was that moment of like, that's Arthur and Bruce. It's not Batman and the Joker, but that's who they will become. I guess I don't actually want to get into this just yet. This is like once we've broken down the rest of the movie, I want to talk about. There's a lot I want to talk about, like afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
So he does his stand up and it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
But there's a big element of this movie, and that the laugh and that infamous Joker laugh, it's a mental condition. What did you like that they did it that way?
Oh god, I loved it. I thought it was so good. The way that every time he's like, they do it, if he's feeling like anxious or he's feeling sad or he's feeling angry, he just laughs instead. I thought it was so fucking good because it's so unsettling, because you can see like in his face, he's not laughing because he's like happy or he finds something funny. You can see there's like this like pain, but like he's just hysterically laughing, and the laugh is so fucking good. It was brilliant. Every time he did it, like I felt various levels of discomfort, and I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a great way of doing it and twisting the way that the laugh works for the Joker. I loved it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure for a while how to feel about it. Like earlier on, I was like, is it a bit of a cop out that it's like, it's a mental condition? Like it's not a it's not a choice thing. He just does it. But then like the way he does the laugh, how like just so many times in this movie he does that laugh at weird times. Like he's so out of the norm. Like when they're watching stand up and everyone else is laughing and he would just sit there not laughing, and then he'd laugh when no one else is laughing. He laughs at
not the punchline, and it's like, oh god. So uncomfortable.
Just so weird and creepily, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, he was such a strange, odd dude.
Yeah, it was... And it was at moments like that as well, you feel sorry for him as well, and it's weird. It's like... you know this is the Joker, but like at the same time, it's like, I just feel sorry for the guy. Like, he doesn't get it, and I don't know, it's weird. It's so weird how they give us those little moments, like where he is laughing at like the wrong times, and I'm like, I feel sorry for him.
Yeah, that's... I don't know if I felt sorry for him. Like, it's just, they really made it feel like the world was against him. Like, at the clown, whatever job he had, like, all the other different clowns fucking there, and there's the midget one that's the only one that's kind of nice to him, and then that guy keeps saying, you're my guy, he gives him the gun and everything like that, and he's the one that ratted him out while saying that he tried to buy a gun off him. But the interesting thing is, looking back on it, that's probably true. Arthur probably did try to buy a gun off this guy. That guy probably wasn't lying to the boss. Did you think about that?
Yeah, I did think that was true when he said it, because Arthur didn't try to deny it. Like because he's on the phone, that's when he gets fired, and the guy says like, whoever, forget the guy's name, told me that you tried to buy or whatever off him last week, and Arthur doesn't go, no, I didn't do that. He's just sort of like, I forget what he says, but he sort of basically accepts it, and it's just like, oh, please don't fire me or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. But then it's weird that at the beginning of the film, when the guy does give him the gun, he's like, no, I'm not allowed to have one of those.
But if he did try to buy his head?
Maybe. It definitely could
all
be in his head. Like, we don't know what's real and what's not real. So
we just know he has a gun. That's how he fires.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, I think there's a few moments in this movie where it's made, it's sometimes it's quite obvious when it's not real, and sometimes it's a bit more subtle when it's not real.
Yeah.
With like, you've got this big clown rally and protest. I'm like, is that real? Or is Joker imagining that because that's what he wants from the world?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which is what I probably believe the latter, that it's an imagination. I don't think the whole of Gotham rised up in clown masks because of him killing a couple people on a train. but I think that's what he
Yeah.
wants the world to do.
Yeah, it's like his wet dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, we get to this moment where his shitty stand-up was made fun of on a clip on the Murray Franklin show.
Mm-hmm.
He's now being invited to the Murray Franklin show, and we know this is going to be obviously the climax of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to put on, he greens his hair, and he starts to put on the white makeup, and he's even putting it on his tongue, and it's just like that moment where you're like, holy shit, we're about to see full Joker makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, knock on the door,
Mm-hmm.
and it's two of the guys from his old work, the big clown that gave him the gun, and the dwarf clown.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like coming to have a drink with him because his mum died, and you see him lock the door, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's gonna go down. Do you want to? Yeah. What? How did you think this scene was going down? What were your thoughts on this scene? Because this to me is the most important scene in the movie.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Like, I mean, Joaquin Phoenix throughout the whole movie does a lot of interesting things with his posture and his like body language, but in this scene, it's super fucking weird. Like the way that he's leaning up against the wall and the way that he I think it was a shot from the trailer, is where he's leaning both hands against the walls that are next to him and like leaning his head down and lifts his head up, and it's the fucking weirdest, creepiest fucking thing. I don't know how the fuck he does it, but it's that whole build up of the way he's acting is sort of building tension there, which I really like, because I was like, I kind of feel like he's gonna kill this guy, especially because he said he stopped taking his medication as well, which I think it's easily and straight away noticeable that he's changed slightly. He's a lot less subdued. I don't know whether that's just because he's sort of in his own mind is like, oh, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want now.
No. It's being off his meds. He's way more. There's higher highs and lower lows with depression like that. The conditions he has.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress he has for sure.
Yeah, which is
when you're high
you
up,
notice that straight away.
Yeah.
Like he
100%.
feels way different. And it's sort of like straight away it was like, this is less Arthur and a lot more Joker, where Joker can go from like 0 to 100 real quick. Like he can go from just laughing and joking around and dancing to just like stabbing someone and like ripping their face off or something. And that's sort of what we get to see in this scene. Like right away when he has the scissors and you're like, oh shit, he's gonna fucking kill this guy. And then he just stabs the guy in the fucking neck, and it's like, it's so fucked. It's also very over the top. It was almost like Tarantino, not quite, but like it was sort of, it was very over the top and like slapstick.
It was very, very violent.
Like sort of very comic book Joker, the way it was just like so aggressive and over the top, the way that he does it, like his movements and everything. And it just comes out of absolutely nowhere, but it was so Joker the way that it happens, the way that he's just talking to him normally and then all of a sudden he just fucking killed someone. And then he goes straight back again to just like being relaxed and having a laugh again. And it was so well performed and so well written and directed. It was a really good Joker scene that was also incredibly fucking shocking and like aggressive and brutal.
Yeah, it's it's that to me. Like I said, man, that scene to me is the most important scene of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is the scene that transitions Arthur to the Joker.
Yeah.
It's the sequence of events that began the fall or rise, depending on your perspective of the Joker or Arthur or whatever, was this man handing him a gun.
Yeah.
He then kills this man in this half-done white Joker makeup. Now his green hair and white makeup face is splattered with blood, baptized in blood.
Yeah.
That's the last time you see Arthur. The next time you see him, he's in full Joker makeup and outfit.
Mm.
He was baptized in blood, and his transition is complete. And he's got the blood all over his white face. And then the next time you see it, all the red's on there, all the eye done, and he's fully done makeup.
Mm.
And he's dancing around, and that to me was the moment, that baptism in blood of born again moment, the full circle moment for Arthur. who started it all, finished it, baptized in blood, born again. Next shot is him in full Joker outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is why it's the transitional scene, the most important scene of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Then we get to the Murray Franklin show,
Mm-hmm.
and he's at the back, and he ran away from the cops, and the cops got beat up from all the protesters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He just thinks it's hilarious, and he walks into the show, and he writes like in lipstick or makeup or whatever on the mirror, put on a happy face.
Yeah.
And Murray comes in, introduces himself, talks, and he's like, and that the line where he says, when you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker? I think is, like, the trailer was cool, but having seen the movie, I was like, that's iconic.
Yeah. It's a great fucking moment.
That's iconic.
I love it. Yeah. I mean, this whole
Especially
section I
when
love.
it's like,
the stuff on the Murray Franklin show.
Yeah, like, he's like, that's what you called me. You called me a Joker.
Yeah.
And then he's planning his suicide. Like, that's his thing. Like, he's planning to knock, like, kill himself on it.
Yeah.
And the reason I was at never at any point in fear of him killing himself was the fact that the Joker is a narcissist.
Yeah.
He would never do that to himself. And that's why I knew, going into the scene, even if it was in his head that that's what he might do, in the moment, he's too much of a coward.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to make other people suffer. He would turn it on other people. And that's what he did. Like, that whole scene, from the way he planned to just have a nice normal entrance and be like everyone else, like he was rehearsing, and then he gets there and he does the dancing and the, like, Arthur's gone at this point.
Yeah.
What were your emotions going into the scene as he comes out in Murray Franklin?
I loved it so much. I think this might be my favorite scene in the film, to be honest, purely because he's gone full Joker at this point, and seeing Joaquin Phoenix play not just Arthur becoming the Joker, but just playing the Joker was such a joy to watch. Like, seeing it nailed so well, it just like, as much as like this whole movie is really fucked, but like, you know, in a comic book fan sense, I was so happy seeing that they'd managed to nail the Joker so well. Like, seeing DC actually successful for once in such a long time, it was so great to see. And seeing him come out and, like, he just feels like the Joker. He kisses that doctor woman, and he's just like, it just feels like the Joker, the way that he's just so fucking weird and just over the top, and just, he does all these crazy things, and, like, he's dancing all the time. Like, it was so brilliant. It just felt like his entrance to be like, look, I'm the Joker, like, this is me. And it was so good. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. The way he goes on the rant and outlandish, outrageous.
He says society in it.
Okay, can we talk about this?
I audibly laughed. I was like, I said it. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about this. Before we finish the movie off.
Yep.
I walk into the cinema to buy my ticket to this movie.
Yep.
I'm wearing a Marvel hat, a normal t-shirt.
Yeah. Okay.
The guy, the clerk, I don't know the employee.
Yeah.
Sold me the ticket. I go, you want ticket to Joker, please?
Mm.
Excellent choice. Rise up, gamers. We live in a society right now.
Did he really say that to you?
100% said that. And then when
amazing.
Harlan went up, I didn't really catch it. I was kind of like, I don't think he said that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really know what you said. And then I walked off. And then Harlan, my brother, goes up, buys his ticket. And he goes, right on, rise up, gamer. We live in a society right now. He said it again to Harlan. And I'm like, he really did say that.
Guy. He fucking really loves his job.
He was just so passionate about it. He's just like, excellent choice. Rise up, gamer. We live in a society right now.
Oh,
like,
that's amazing.
So dead set passionate about it. Because we were wearing like nerd shirts. Harlan was wearing like a Venom shirt or something.
Yeah.
He was, I think he thought we were his audience. And none of us knew what the fuck he was talking about.
Oh my god, how do you not know? How have you never encountered that meme before? Other than me saying it.
And I go to Jared, I'm like, do you know what that is? And Jared has no idea. And none of us had any clue what was going on. But I'm like, people have been saying it a lot recently on Twitter, and I don't know why they're saying it.
It's such an old meme. Like, it's been going for years.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were
talking
talking about.
It's a Joker meme. So it's
like when I said on Clubhouse a few weeks ago, when I saw Mark Shev's head, I'm like, we live in a society, and you just started losing it. I didn't know why you were laughing so hard. I had no idea.
Oh my god. Okay, let me explain.
I was kind of like, that's weird that you're laughing so much, but I guess I'll keep going with this rant.
Let me explain it for you and for anyone else that doesn't get it. So I believe it came from originally, it was like a post on a subreddit or something where someone was ranting about being shit on by society or whatever, and it was accompanied by something to do with the Joker. I'm pretty sure it was a satirical post, but like it included the words "we live in a society," and it was just coined by this subreddit that ended up becoming, it was like r/gamers rise up. And so the Joker, for whatever reason, has become a symbol for gamers who are oppressed, who can't, like, they're like, it's become like this meme where gamers, you know, we can't get girls, they just want to be with all the chads, and you could, like, I'm such a gentleman, and like they feel like they're the Joker, like that's the meme. And gamers rise up and we live in a society are like the two phrases, because it was used in that original post, like we live in a society, so people just say it all the time, and it's just linked with the Joker, and it's the weirdest fucking meme to try and explain unless you've experienced it. I remember when I found it for the first time, and I was just scrolling through this Gamers Rise Up subreddit, and I was like, this is fucking hilarious, because it's the dumbest shit. It's just like the Joker, like just pictures of the Joker from different movies or cartoons or games or whatever, with like the dumbest fucking captions. It's amazing. It's just like, it's a meme just to take the piss out of actual incels, I think, is what the point of the meme is. Because I don't think there's one post like that that's actually genuine. I think they're all jokes. That's the point of it. And it just became a thing. I don't know why, but I absolutely love it. And so when you said it that time, it was so funny to me. And it was even funny when we had Colin on and he said it on the podcast. And I fucking, oh my God, it's the best meme, but it's also like one of the dumbest memes because it doesn't really make any sense. But like, I feel like those are the best memes, and it's lived for so long as well. Like, it's been years, and this meme is still funny.
Yeah, no.
You can't dislike the Gamers Rise Up meme. That's sacrilege.
Yeah, okay. Gamers rise up. We live in a society right now, I guess.
Oh, we live in a society. It's so fucking stupid.
I still don't even understand it.
It's like a nice guys thing. Let me hang on. So there's this one which I believe is one of the original ones where it's like it's a picture of the Joker, and then it's just got this caption like an old school meme where you've got like text at the top and the bottom, and the text just reads it's so fucking stupid. It's just got, when the nice guy loses his patience, the devil shivers, and the background is just a picture of the Joker. And like, it's meant to be like it was just some incel that feels like oppressed by people that has just posted this meme to be like, you don't want to get on the wrong side of me, but it's just like this scrawny little kid, and it just like ramped up to just get to this point where it's just this absolutely ridiculous meme. And like, there's these posts where it's just like pictures of the Joker and just these paragraphs of text over the top of his face, like just ranting about how gamers are oppressed and how they have far more stamina than the average male, and so women should be with us instead of the chads. It's just, it's the greatest thing. I fucking love it. It's my favorite meme. I wish someone at the cinema that I went to did that to me. I would have given him a high five.
I guess, man. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Fucking stupid.
What a great guy. Oh, I love it. It's a great meme. But yeah, the Joker said society in the movie, and I love that.
Okay. Whatever. Whatever, bro. It's
sorry, I'm just looking at these memes. Okay, I'm done. It's actually, I'll tell you what, it might be my favourite meme, purely because it just hasn't died, and it's been years, and it's still alive, and I can still find it funny. And I think that's good. Like, the moth meme was a good one, but like, it started to get a bit stale after a while. So, you know, I think this is one of the longest lasting memes, at least for me anyway. So, there you go.
What's the dog one?
The dog one?
Doge memes.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that dog died.
I know.
It's so sad.
No.
Such sad. Many rest in peace.
You're right. I hate it. Yeah, so anyway, Joaquin Phoenix, the actor, shoots Robert De Niro, the actor, in the face.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, what do you think when he just shot him in the head on camera, and then he walks to the camera and kind of grabs it to stare at it? I'm like, that is such... There were moments where I was like, he's doing Heath Ledger. I gotta say. There was 2 times I was like, this is Heath Ledger Joker.
Sure.
Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. In like a good way. I was like, oh, this is giving me Heath Ledger vibes.
It's almost like because Heath Ledger is such an iconic Joker, the way that people would take inspiration from the comics, they also take inspiration from him because he's like probably the most iconic because he's the one that most people would know. So it makes sense to me that you see that in performances of the Joker moving forward. So that's cool, yeah. And I did notice that there's some like very clear comic book inspiration, some very clear like Arkham inspiration, and like Heath Ledger and stuff. And it was really cool to see the inspiration. Like I don't think this Joker ever felt like it was copying. And to me, it never felt like it was. Well,
no, because to me, Heath Ledger's a very tough, menacing, vile Joker.
Yeah,
very strong-willed. Very, like there's this confidence and strength that Heath Ledger's Joker has, right?
Yeah.
And to me, Joaquin Phoenix Joker felt like a little bit of a little boy. Like he just felt like this little boy that's never got his way and acting out, like in that way. That's the kind of Joker it was. It wasn't this strong, dominant sort of vibe or aura. It was this narcissistic, vindictive, very vengeful little kid that never got his way and acting out. That's the kind of differences. There's definitely a man to boy difference for me with the Joker.
Yeah.
With those 2 Jokers. But even the shot when he's in the police car, so after he shoots Murray Franklin.
Oh, wait, actually, before we get to the police car bit, let me just talk quickly about another moment in that scene on the Murray Franklin show that I really liked. Just a tiny little thing was when he does shoot him and he goes to stand up, he shoots him again, which I just thought was a very nice little, like, that felt like the Joker. It was like, the Joker does that all the time, just randomly shooting corpses and stuff. After he's already killed them. I was like, that was good. Like, it was a little thing, but I thought it was really good, and I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's like he did it more than once with just the way he shoots people, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's very accurate.
Yeah, wow. Well, we get to police car, and the way he's leaning on the window felt Heath Ledger. Even the shot. There's just that bit, when Heath Ledger's got his head out the window?
Oh, yeah, I guess so, yeah.
At nighttime, that's first thing I went to was like, I feel like that's a shot straight from The Dark Knight.
I didn't even think about that. Well, I thought it was mirroring like that scene earlier where Arthur's got his head on the window. But this time he's the Joker and he's in a police car. But yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, because he does do that. When Joker like sticks his head out the window and like sticks his tongue out or something. Does he do that? Or like flick his hair out of his face?
Yeah, flicks his hair. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like got a gun or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, actually. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
It was after he escaped
shot,
from prison. It was a similar exact thing they did in a different way. Like when they got Joker out, like by ramming the van and everything like that. Yeah. They smash into the police car, and you kind of saw it was coming, and they pick out Joker from the back of the car and put him on the front to kind of rise again. And it is that sort of Jesus moment, that Messiah sort of moment of dead and rising again. Yeah, I don't know, like that's how I saw it, and then everyone waiting for him and everything like that, but it was, and then he's just like, this sort of godly moment he has.
Yeah, that moment I was like, this is super fucking weird. And he like wipes the blood into the smile, Which apparently, by the way, I heard, I can't remember who said it, but, and don't take my word for this because I haven't checked, but I've heard this. Apparently, originally, in that scene, he was meant to cut, like, a smile into his face, but they decided to not go with it.
Yeah, that would be too...
Which would be like, yeah, I don't know about that, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that scene is very interesting, but I think it solidified for me that whole ending wasn't real. I don't think that he ever did escape from the police car, because at the end we get, like, he's being interviewed in I'm assuming he's in Arkham, and I don't think that previous bit was real at all, because he's like standing, like, everyone's worshipping him. It's like, that is exactly what he would want. And then how did he end up in prison, or how did he end up in Arkham after that? Who knows? So to me, I just don't think that happened.
I don't know if anything happened.
Yeah, to be fair, maybe none of it happened, which would make a lot of sense. I mean, I think there's certain things that probably happened.
Pissed
like,
me
probably...
off too, though.
I think he
I'll
killed,
tell you. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
So, the way, okay. Well, first of all, just to go back a scene or two.
Mm-hmm.
When there's all the rioting going on in the streets.
Yeah.
And you see a cinema or a theater, straight away, I knew.
Yeah.
And then you see Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne and Bruce Wayne come out. And I'm like, okay, here's the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And someone in a clown mask, kills Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. And
mm-hmm.
you have that moment of, like, the Joker had a direct effect on Bruce's parents being killed.
Yeah.
Which, is a big deal in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the whole rising again thing. Then we get to, all of a sudden, Arthur, or the Joker at this point, is in Arkham Asylum, or Arkham
State Hospital. Yeah.
Arkham State Hospital, mental hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And he's laughing, and the woman goes, "What's so funny?" And he goes, "I'm just thinking of a joke." And she goes, "Do you want to tell it to me?" And he goes, "You wouldn't get it."
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I'm like, was that just him dreaming the whole movie up?
Yeah. Exactly.
He just dreamt the whole movie up. And that would have pissed me off if they'd, like, said that that's what it was, because I'm like, I was taught in, like, grade 4, the worst way to end a story is saying, "and it was a dream."
Yeah, but when it's the Joker, though.
I don't know, man.
I don't think it is, because it's the Joker. Yeah. Because I mean, I love the ambiguity of it. I think that you could make an argument for either way, and I think that's important in a movie like this, because they make it clear, like, even within his own, like, if it is all made up, even within his own fantasy, some of the stuff isn't real. Like, you see, like, he's got like, even in his own fantasy, he fakes that he has a girlfriend, or, like, he fakes being on the Murray Franklin show. So it's very interesting the way that all that's done. It's almost like a fantasy within a fantasy sort of thing, if that's the case. But I'm so happy they left it ambiguous, because my biggest issue with this movie was, how the fuck do you do a Joker origin without ruining the Joker? And the way that they did it was perfect, because it's like, that's it. Like, you don't know now. You don't know, and that's perfect, because that's exactly the Joker. Like, the Joker doesn't know, and Batman doesn't know, because the Joker just loves to make shit up and lie, and he doesn't know his own origin, or at least he doesn't like to share it. And so I think that was the perfect way you could end it, because there's so much that could be like, maybe these things are real, maybe some of it's real, maybe some of it's warped, maybe none of it's real. Like, you don't know. And I think that's perfect. And if he were ever to appear again, you'd never need to bring this movie up. It would never need to be like, oh, here's a callback to when this thing happened in his origin, because that ruins the ambiguity.
I mean, there could be callbacks of, like, things he's done similar. You're like, oh, that feels like that moment.
Yeah.
But was that just his fantasy of that moment, and this is him really doing it? Because now it's from the perspective of Batman, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'd be so interesting to see this Joker from Batman's perspective and not from his perspective himself. I would love to see it.
Well, here's the thing. We have a goddamn Matt Reeves Batman movie coming out in 2021 that's in development right now that supposedly wants to start a trilogy. So what does that mean? What does that tell us?
I mean, it tells us that we're getting a Batman movie that wants to start a trilogy.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking,
Mm-hmm.
It would be an absolute travesty.
You're right.
To never see this Joker again.
Yep. A lot of people are not in agreement with that, though. I've seen a lot of, to see this Joker again would ruin the point of this movie, but I don't agree with that at all. I think there's an easy way you could tackle it again without ruining this movie. Because you don't need to bring this movie up. It doesn't need to be a direct sequel where you're tackling, like, was it real, was it fake? Like, you leave the ambiguity of it. That's sort of the point of it. Like, you never come to the conclusion of Heath Ledger's Joker, like, how did he get his scars? Like, they never tackle that because you don't need to. I know it's a bit different because that's, like, a small segment of a larger film and this is a whole movie. But I think the point is this movie is to get an insight into the Joker's psyche and what he's like. And it's also, as a standalone piece, you know, how someone can succumb to insanity, the things that people can do. Like, it's, you know, it's a piece on that as much as it is a Joker film. And I think that if you're making a Batman film with this Joker in it, you don't need really to bring any of the things that happen in this movie up. Like, it never needs to be like that moment when there was a big Joker protest. Leave it ambiguous. Like, did it ever happen? Did it not? Maybe this Joker is, you know, I don't know, but I don't think you need to. I don't think it's a thing. I don't think you need to tackle the events of this movie in a Batman film. I don't think that needs to even be important because he wouldn't be the protagonist either. The protagonist would be Batman, and he'd be fighting this Joker. And then it's still up to you. It's like, is this the same Joker that we saw do all those things? Or is this just the Joker and those things were made up and that's sort of what goes on in his head? Like, he likes making up these fantasies and these scenarios. And I think that's a fine way of doing it. That's absolutely fine. And then we can see Joaquin Phoenix portray the Joker against Batman. I think that works.
Yeah, no, 100%, but are we going to see it? Because Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix have said that's it.
Well, I mean, recently there was a report, and I don't know if it was correct or not. But it was, I think it was yesterday. There was a tweet that said Joaquin Phoenix said he said this role will become very special to him, and he was up for doing a sequel or something, or playing it again. I don't remember. Exactly
I don't want to see a sequel.
I don't want to see a sequel either, like a Joker 2. No,
like
you can't do it. What would you do?
You can't do it. But you've got a new. And this is set in the 80s, and you've got this Batman movie series that's set in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Timeline's good. Noir style, Robert
fun.
Pattinson, a young Batman. Let's fucking do this. Let Batman have his first solo movie. Don't have the Joker in it at all. And then do the Joker next.
Yeah. It'd be terrific. You could really, really nail it.
You know, you've established this villain, and not, you know, what happened to him, but who he is. Like his personality and how crazy he is and the things he does, the things he fantasizes about, you know, and some is way of why he does what he does, you know, the narcissism, his mental state of being and what he really wants. Now, yeah, I'm worried we'll never get it because they told an origin story of Batman in a way in this. You don't need in this Matt Reeves films to see his parents die. And if they're going to do it, Matt Reeves needs to use bits of this film in his movie, right? Yeah. In the sense of how the Waynes died. It doesn't have to say it was a guy in a clown mask, but just say during riots.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
that was the thing
they
to
have
me,
to
right?
play with this.
In this Joker movie, it killing Bruce's parents is almost like, why did they show that? Does that enhance the movie? I don't know. Like, unless it's going to play a role in a future movie.
Exactly, but that's my point. Yeah, exactly.
Why did they show that? Because it's not important, really. Other than, like, oh, the Joker killed Thomas Wayne. But it's the way that they do it and, like, the way that it's, like, you then get that shot of Bruce at the end as well, just alone in the alley on his own. And it's like, that's really interesting. Like, they don't even just have him show, like, oh, Joker's, you know, riot brought this, like, I guess, army of clowns that have risen up against the society and have killed Thomas Wayne. It's not just, like, for that. You also then get another shot after it's already been, like, showing the Joker for a bit. You see Bruce on his own in that alley, and it's like, that's a really weird thing to linger on if it's not ever going to be relevant. Unless it is just to be like, you guys know he becomes Batman. We're just giving you a little bit of like a, I guess, fan service. I don't know. But I don't know. It was interesting though, the way, because that's the only time I think that we're not with Arthur, right? When Thomas and Martha
that is
die,
the only scene.
and then we're with Bruce on his own in the alley. That's the only time when we're not with Arthur or the Joker. So
Yeah.
interesting. I don't really know what to take from it, but it is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not sure either. But yeah, that's the only scene Arthur's not in, is that fan service, I guess, scene. That's the only thing it could be, right?
Yeah.
And just to show the Joker's impact on... Yeah, it has to play into a universe, and it can't be a Joker universe. It's got to be a Batman universe.
Yeah, and I don't see any problem with this movie being the start of a Batman universe. Because, I mean...
I agree.
It's a really, really strong start, and I think it really sets up the tone of what you should be doing with a Batman cinematic universe.
If you want to be different and modern, this is what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right? I think the best tone you can ever do is the Dark Knight Christopher Nolan trilogy, but you can't do that again. You know?
Yeah, sure.
And you can't be Marvel.
No, definitely not.
They suck at being Marvel. They're so bad at it.
And this is perfect. This is what you would do if you would... It just feels like Batman's version of what the MCU is, because Batman isn't Marvel. Like, they're not the same. But this feels like what Batman should be if it's turned into a Batman, film series, like a Batman universe with all these characters and stuff. The tone is so good, the direction's so good, and I think it just sets up, because Batman's villains, and it's all about sort of madness and all these characters that are going to an asylum, and the fact that Batman might be as crazy as all of them, the fact that he dresses up as a bat and fights crime and stuff, and so it sort of sets up that whole mental instability of the Batman universe and Gotham and Arkham and all of those things within this first film. And I think if they were going to do it, it is a perfect way to start things off, is with a movie that's this strong and understands the universe so well. So
yeah,
who knows if they will, but I personally would love to see it.
I'm worried they won't do it.
I'm worried
like, they're not like Marvel, right? Like, I'm just worried they'll just really fucking not...
Like, I don't know what's going on.
I don't have faith in a universe of anything from DC, whether it's Batman or not. You know?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. It's weird as well, because they've still got DCEU movies coming out, like Birds of Prey and The Suicide Squad. So there's that on its own as well. There's this other separate universe that... I mean, it's weird. It's weird because Henry Cavill's no longer Superman, and Ben Affleck is no longer Batman. So what are you doing with the DCEU when you've got your two main heroes in Superman and Batman that are no longer present? Why are you still making movies in this universe?
But I don't think there is a DCEU. I think literally, like, just because they've still got Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman doesn't mean the Justice League counts. It's just Wonder Woman's Wonder Woman now, I think.
Right, but it still continues though. Like, this is still like in that universe though.
But do you not just pretend Batman vs Superman never happened? Justice League never happened? This is just Wonder Woman?
For Wonder Woman it doesn't matter because it's set in the 80s, so...
Yeah, and Aquaman,
but it'll still be a sequel
I've never seen Wonder Woman, I've never seen Aquaman, so I don't know what even happens.
I've never seen Aquaman. I watched Wonder Woman, it was... shit, but I don't know, it's like... but it leads into... The end of Wonder Woman is like... And the start of Wonder Woman and the end of Wonder Woman lead into Justice League, I believe, because it's like contacts from Bruce Wayne or something. I don't remember. It's just a bit weird the way that, like, they're making sequels to these movies, but they also don't really want to pursue the universe, and it's like, what are you even doing? Because, look, Birds of Prey is not going to be anything better than mediocre, is it? Like, it's going to be an Aquaman, it's going to be a Shazam, where it's just like, yeah, fun time, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. But, like, it's not going to be worth investment or anything like that, especially when your main heroes are no longer even part of it. So I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. And I mean, they've said that they want to focus on making solo movies, and I guess that's what they're doing with the Joker, and I guess that's what they're doing with Batman. But I would, when you've got when you've nailed the Joker so well, if they can nail Batman, and we come out of Batman feeling the same way, and we're like, wow, this was a really good Batman film. They did it so well. Rob Pattinson was so good. Then I don't see any reason to not cross those over and do them, because it would be incredible. Like, if you've nailed the Joker this well and then you nail Batman that well, that would be like a huge deal for, you know, films in general. Like, that would be a huge event film for people to go and see. That I don't see why they wouldn't try and do it. But then, if that's the case, maybe, you know, Warner Brothers will get too heavily involved and fuck it all up. But I don't know. All I know is I would love to see this Joker face off against Batman in some way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd like to talk about this in the future when, you know, this Batman movie is being developed and, you know, is kind of coming up more and more. But right now, it's hard to say. I don't really want to get too excited and theorize about, you know, what we talked about maybe last Kill Connor Club with, or 2 Kill Connor Clubs ago with Eddie and that, when I really just think that they're probably going to screw it up.
Like, I'm not really even expecting it to happen, to be honest. But, I mean, who knows?
I mean, I'm excited for a solid Batman movie irregardless.
Yeah. The thing is with that, though, did you see the, like, reports coming out that there's so many villains in that movie? They got, like, 5 villains, like Penguin, Riddler...
And Jonah Hill's in it.
Whoever... Yeah, Jonah Hill's in it. I mean, Jonah Hill's alright. I think he can do a good job. I don't know. I feel like he's one of those actors that if given the chance to do something well, I think he could do it, but most people just see him as, like, you know, fat, funny guy. So, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still going to hold out hope for this Batman film. Like, I think the Joker has given me hopes that, you know, if Warner Brothers don't get too heavily involved with things and they just sort of leave directors to make good films, then it's possible. So, especially considering I didn't even think the Joker was going to be good until very recently, and the one of the trailers, I think it was one of the most recent trailers, I was like, that wasn't even a very good trailer. But the movie was so much better. Like, there were so many lines in that trailer, I'm like, that just fucking sucks. And it might be because I'm so used to the Gamers Rise Up meme, so it was almost too on the nose for me, where it, like, the Joker's like, or Arthur's like, all I have are negative thoughts. And in the trailer, it just made me laugh, because I'm like, that looks like something straight off that subreddit. But in the context of the movie, it works so well. Like, it's like, yeah, that's good. Like, it was great. So, I mean, I've got hopes that the Batman movie's good. I really, really hope so, because I fucking love Batman so much, and I need some Batman. I need something more like the Joker, because we've had so much Marvel, and so much, you know, like, as much as I fucking love Marvel, there is a lot of just, like, it's very silly, and there's a lot of, like, jokes, and it's very lighthearted. Seeing the Joker was something I really liked. Just something that really was, you know, made you feel a lot of things. It was really heavy, and that was something that, you know, something I would love to see more of. And I think the Batman universe is perfect for it. Yeah,
agreed. Absolutely agreed. Joker was a phenomenal film. Seems like most people enjoyed it. The drama surrounding it's dumb. I really paid no attention to it, really, so I couldn't really comment enough. But unless you have anything else you want to talk about with Joker film, we can wrap this one up. Another cinema room in the books.
I think we covered it. I think we got it. Pretty nice. All right. Sorry. Right. Okay. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to this episode of the Cinema Room Podcast. Thank you to our Patreon producers, King Richard III, Smexy Dork, Elsker91, HBus12, I Got Big Shoes, Seth, and is Josh DeVilliers still a producer? Because he's still not on the thing. Yeah, he is. Josh DeVilliers, thank you as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for listening. If you're listening on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, when this came out a week earlier than when you're listening to it now, over on patreon.com/as always, where you don't only get a week's early access to the Cinema Room, but you also get exclusive access to the Kill Connor Clubhouse podcast and anything else we do together over there. It's really great. And it's just $1 at the very least. And you get access to all those things. It's great stuff. And it helps support us. It's really, really good. We've been growing like hell this year. And you can help us take it further. We'd really, really appreciate it. So go and check that out. Links in the description. To thank everybody, though, pledging $5 or more, we have got King Richard III, Smexy Dork, Elsker91, HBus12, I Got Big Shoes, Seth, Josh DeVilliers, Ballsack47, Damian, Billy the Team Tynamite Captain, Robertson, Tman or Travis, SuperTuberEddie, Baby Boy, KEMOSABE, Gamer, Casey Wood, Pink Flame 313, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie Brown, Jesper Olsen, Lumistrad, DIDDLOTIC, Marif380, Wants to Blow the Creed, Fat Fuck Cuck, Brendon will beat you Overlord, RAVJAI, Ikraik, Oscar, Benedict Parker returns, Jimli, James and Lad, Connor Durose, Bully in the Alley, Zahir the FAT Gamer, Max H, Gene, Zeek, the #1 fan of JB Smoove the actor, Son of a Bitch Ogeaidogo, George, Noah Watts, FuriousCoco, Nick Miller, TheACMJS, McZed, Kassassin, Kyle, S. Jaws, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mora, Ginko Swag, Master Bass, Remy the Rat is a cunt, Ashton, Amir the Synth Potato, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Joe AK Founded Scarab, Iman's for the Dads, Derriday, Alfie Robert, Brian Ford, Casper, Fiji, and Andrew Martinez. Thank you all so much for continued support. That list becomes such muscle memory now that I went to say a few names that were no longer there.
Yeah, I know, it annoys me. Like what Zeke Collins did, that pissed me off. I don't like that he did that.
Yeah, I don't like that Milk Boy's not there at the bottom anymore. I'm used to Milk Boy being before Casper. Brian Ford, Milk Boy, Casper.
Yeah, true. True that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it
There
is
you
what
go.
it is.
We're done.
Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm glad... No, well, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm glad most of you enjoyed the Joker film. We'll see you next episode, which I know what we're going to do if James answers yes to this question. I'm pretty sure it's yes. James, you've watched Breaking Bad, haven't you? You're a fan of Breaking Bad?
Yes. Oh,
It'll be El Camino. The next episode of Cinema Room
yes.
will be El Camino, a Breaking Bad film. That'll be the next Cinema Room.
That's going to be great. Can't wait.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And we're going to need to start backlogging some Cinema Room. So maybe we'll do... El Camino comes out this week, so we can record it this week and have it backlogged and then record a Cinema Room every week before podcasts.
Okay.
That way we have some backlogged ones. But yeah, while I'm away.
Nice.
But yeah, cool. So next episode of Cinema Room will be El Camino, Breaking Bad film on Netflix. And then maybe The Irishman comes out. When's The Irishman come out?
November? Start first, second week of November it comes out.
I might be gone.
Oh, that's annoying.
We'll see. I leave November 7th, so...
Oh, when does it come out? Let me Google it. The Irishman comes out... It doesn't say. November 8th.
There it is.
It says that The Irishman will be released in the UK in cinemas on the 8th of November.
I thought it was coming out on Netflix.
And then it comes out on Netflix later on November 27th.
Okay. They have to have a certain amount of days in cinemas apparently to go for an Oscar. For any Oscars and stuff, so I think that's all it is.
That makes sense.
But anyway, I'm sure we'll do The Irishman down the road. But El Camino, Breaking Bad film is next. Check that out in the next week. It's out by the time this video comes out publicly for free to everyone else. So go watch it and set yourself up for the next episode and become a Sweet Ventures Lad if you're not already. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks very much. See you next
Goodbye.
time, boys.